Listening to your goals and dreams is our top priority at West Tennessee Bank. Benefit from our more than 100 years of experience and visit our Henderson branch today. West Tennessee Bank, focused on you. West Tennessee Bank is a division of Decatur County Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Okay, first item on the agenda are the minutes. Is there any corrections or amendments to the minutes?
One question, and it wasn't really about any correction in the minutes or anything. We were talking about that pipe, this is for Darryl, the pipe that was quarantined, we couldn't use. Do we get to send some of that back?
If and when they do a recall, they're not taking any back because they haven't been in production, haven't been able to supply it. It's my understanding from an email that I got like on Monday that they were starting back up production, that they had figured out that this was kind of one particular plant that this material had come from, and I don't think our material actually came from there. I think that's the reason they didn't just out and out recall it, is they couldn't replace it. I'm hoping that now that they've actually been through the whole process, they know what the problem is, and they're actually starting up production, and we'll be able to return it, get it replaced, or, we'll be clear to use it.
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Have a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do we have a second? Second. I have a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is accounts. No vote required on accounts. If you have any question on any of the accounts, please give us the page number and the line.
Question, not a question, really a question. It's line, it was for the utility department, yeah, 15,000, it's line 4030. That 15,000, is that just for, is there a specific project, or is that just getting your supplies?
That primarily was, we just got through doing fire hydrants, and we had a number of fire hydrants in key locations that were broke, and this also included the fire hydrant that went back to the Arden Sango plant, and we redid that line back there. And then this was for some gas tubing, was bought a different manufacturer's tubing so that we could start back running gas services until we could find out for sure what we're going to do with the tubing that's in quarantine.
Okay. So it's part for a project, part for supplies.
Right, and about, we had purchased like, I think it was 6,000 feet of gas tubing, right, 4,000 to 6,000 feet of gas tubing, and that's because we couldn't use what we had, so.
Okay, thank you.
Item, let's see, Road 57. That's dealing with the repair cuts in the streets all over town. Is that just one time, one and done, or is there going to be another round of?
That was
Was that temporary or permanent?
That was the permanent cuts that the utility department cut through the winter, and I think they pretty much got them all, didn't they, Darrell?
Right, this included a lot of the cuts that the contractors made to do sewer line. It included the cut over here at the courthouse, one on Main Street down there by, where we did the cut for the tap for Free Hardman. It was like all over town. Plus, we had damaged a fairly large section of road at Amber Cove and up Sand Road Circle where we put that new water main in. And this did include the repair. We actually had damage more than road on Amber Cove and the other that we intended to, primarily because of the proximity to the sewer force main coming out of the pump station. We wound up with quite a bit of square footage of asphalt we need to replace those two locations. So really the big three was over at the courthouse and Amber Cove and Sand Road Circle. And then that was all over North Street everywhere all in town.
Okay, this may be for Jim, number 68,
Okay.
the tree service, it's payments 2 and 3.
Yes.
Is that all of the payments, or is there one outstanding?
Right now, that's up to June 30 billing. We're actually cut off June because of year end a little early. They cut it off about the 20th. So they're still going to go on with the project. We're still a considerable ways before we get done. I will go ahead and make you aware that we ran into the bad dirt in the parking area. And that's really not a surprise when you consider what we've run into at the park before. So they had to undercut about 4 foot and put the gabion stone down and then extra 33C to firm up the parking lot area.
Yeah.
And that's going to end up and probably cost us about an extra $30,000 before we get done because of additional gravel and stone and the labor to put it in.
Now, this was to the tree service, this 59,000. So
McKenzie
that's,
Tree Service is the contractor.
oh, okay.
For the walking trail. They're the ones that got the contract.
So the dirt and everything comes
Part of
through
it, yeah.
this vendor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's one vendor, everything gets paid to McKenzie Tree Service except for the engineer.
It looked like a mess to me. I was out there.
Yeah, it was a mess. I was out there several times, like everybody gets by almost every day. And yes, it was a lot of bad dirt, a lot of groundwater they were having to deal with. But I think they finally got all the parking area firmed up. Me and Carter walked it yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. And pretty much they've got some gravel all the way around the trail except for one stretch between the dog park up the steep hill. They still had to do a little more grub work in there before they actually started laying gravel. And the main thing they were wanting to do is get at least a layer of gravel down before the rain hit yesterday when it didn't rain. So they've been able to continue to work. So there's a lot more gravel that's going to have to go on the base before they do the paving and finish up the project. But they are moving forward now with the parking lot did slow them down a lot, but
Yeah.
they are moving forward pretty quick now.
Okay. All right.
Line number 107, first section,
Yes.
you got mowing here, $10,800 for 3 months. Is that, how much did they get per?
It's actually about $900 a month?
900.
900 a mowing, and that's basically 12 mowings. I can't do math in my head anymore. So it's basically every week. They're billing us for a mowing every week.
Do they mow every week?
I really don't know. Carter may have a better idea because he's buying every day. I'm not.
About every 10 days, 10 to 12 days. is what they use for mowing.
Now, I know it did rain a lot in April and that, so maybe they, I just,
To be safe, we're probably, last year we had them texting us every time they started mowing.
mhm.
Me and Carter both. This year they haven't done that since spring. In fact, we had to call them and get this bill. I don't know what the deal is, but we will call them and make sure they text us again when they start mowing each time.
Well, I don't have a problem with what they charge it, it seemed like a lot of money for 3 months. And
Yeah,
so
it is expensive to do, and they are billing us pretty much mowing every week. So
they're doing a good job,
Oh,
but
they do a
I
good job down there.
they do.
We need, that's a big job.
But we will make sure they go ahead and do like we were doing last year, they text us each time they mow. That way we know what day they're starting.
Okay.
Any more questions on the council? Okay. Next item on the agenda are delegations. If anyone here would like to address the city on any city issue, please come forward. Come up.
Okay. many years it's gonna take for you to get out there and get my topsoil and get my ground back where y'all put in the gas line?
Where is this at?
At 47 Garland Road. I mean, how long do we have to wait? That's all I need to know, how long do we have to wait?
We took some soil.
No.
It wasn't topsoil, we don't have.
Dan, let him answer, not
That's
just about
fine.
that.
Okay, that's fine.
We don't buy, we don't have topsoil. What we use for field is sand, and we have provided some sand out there. If there's additional areas that I need to come at and look at specifically, we'll fill up with sand. We don't have topsoil.
Sand, okay, what y'all did was just the topsoil of it, okay? And what was under it was the clay, and the clay on top washed away, okay? Because y'all didn't come out there and put any grass, nothing, okay? And it washed away. And now I'm mowing dirt, and now I'm mowing dust, okay? Y'all brought sand out there, okay? Yeah, I took my tractor and my blade and I smoothed it out, okay? It's not gonna go grass, it's just not. I mean, no offense, but you need to get in touch with reality. You really do. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful.
How many feet we talking, Dan? Seriously. But how many feet?
It's not that big of an area, but at the same time, this is not my first foray into city business where the city came out and made a mess and didn't clean it up, didn't fix it. You know? I mean, we have moved all the way out to the county line and here y'all come, you know? I mean, at what point in time is enough enough?
I'm just asking, what can we do besides that sodding it, or what is it?
Take a look at it. If it needs sod, that would be one way to do it. We're in a time of year now where it's not rain. Rain is a hit or a miss. If you sod it, you don't get any rain. Could possibly let it die. We can sod it and just, hope that it gets enough rain to establish itself.
Is it where you can water it? If he sods it, can you water
I
it?
offered, if they would bring, I offered to, if they just bring that low topsoil out there, I would grade it, I would put the grass seed on it, I'd put the wheat straw on it, and I'd water it. And they have yet, it's been years, and they have yet to do anything.
Well, back to the mayor's question, how big an area are we talking about?
It's not that big, it's just the fact that I worked hard on that whole length down there, it's about 200 feet long. I worked hard down through there to get grass on it, simply because we constantly have people pull off there that think that it's I guess, for lack of a better word, a parking lot. But if we have to try to keep it mowed, we have to try to keep it up, because it will wash.
Yeah.
How much
Well,
topsoil?
maybe we could just bring the
Half a
topsoil.
load, pickup load. I mean, that's all I ask for. And yeah, I understand that I could go buy it. I do, I understand that.
I'm just trying to see, look at Darryl and see what he thinks we can do.
We could get some topsoil. That was actually done by a contractor. They went back out once, but we need to address it. We don't want to leave an eyesore, but at the same time, we've done it like we've done other places, and, the sand we use is a drug Bermuda. That's what we put on golf courses and greens. And, but if we need to sow it, straw it, whatever we need to do. Look, it's not that big area. Probably the size of an average automobile car or something. So,
Yeah, probably about 2 or 3 hours.
Can we take care of that?
Contractor went in the ground with a boulder, it was bold.
Is it drilling the bill holes, they did the bill holes,
Yeah, but the
and
thing
they do
is,
that time, the bill hole they dig out, it's about the size of a car, usually about the size of a car, they do the bill hole.
Yeah.
it's bigger, it's much bigger than that.
It's probably up about the width of a car, what he's talking about, probably.
Width and length of an average car.
Okay,
Here's the thing, they do the bill hole, they do that boring, they have to dig the bill hole to do the boring. Can we take care of that?
Try our best to take care.
All right, here's the thing, okay? They're not on the right of way, they're on our property with it.
saying that? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that they're on our property, when you come on somebody's property, you can tear it up, it's up, you can fix it.
So in other words, if we go fix it, if we do what you do, but and we get on your property, you still gonna have a complaint, right?
No,
Okay, that's all.
no.
Is that on property owned by?
Should be on me forever and a
Yeah,
day.
I know, I was just trying to get
Yeah,
that.
no, but you know me forever and a day, and you know that if they fix it, it's
We're
fine.
gonna do it right, that's what I'm saying, you know.
Well, okay. He says, Darrell says he's gonna take care of, if he needs to put topsoil on it and put straw, we can do that, and we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Sir.
You have a nice night.
You think it's right? Okay, anyone else like to address the city on any other business? Okay, next item on the agenda is, consider the approval of bids received on materials to be used by the Public Works Department until June 30, 2022. Who's got that? Carter or Jim?
I'll go ahead and address it. You have a report in your packet, number D. As we have happened before on 33C limestone rock gravel, we do have a tie bid again. Seems like we have that almost every year.
Yeah.
So we got a tie bid between Shaw Concrete here in town and Wayne County Rock. Everything else, your low bids are flagged with an asterisk. I think it's self-explanatory. We only have one bidder on red fill sand. We had one bidder on cold mix asphalt. We had one bidder on concrete. There is some delivery charges for smaller loads on the concrete that I didn't put in the report. And also, we normally bid culverts, both poly culverts and metal culverts. We did not receive a bid at all on culverts this time. So as we buy culverts, we may have to take quotes in order. Right now, Mike Frank's culverts is the one that's been submitting the bid and getting the bid, but that's the only local contractor, culvert contractor we have to provide those. I think the co-op may have some now, so that is an option. So that's something we'll be pricing throughout the year as we need culverts. If we have a big project that's going to be a lot of culverts, we'll have to take a bid at that time, but we probably can get by with quotes. So, Carter, unless you have a problem, soon we're going to ask them to award the bids to the low bidders on everything. And I think the normal procedure is to grant the 33C to the local bidder.
Yes, I think we need to continue that.
I agree.
It's the pleasure of the board.
Make a motion we accept the low bids and award the 33C limestone rock gravel to Shaw Concrete.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
May I have an objection?
Dan, we're in the regular meeting right now. We did the allegations. We're in a regular meeting, and
I understand.
are we gonna do this on each one, or what we,
No, the
what
Shaw
is it?
Now, the Shaw Concrete, I have an objection to pay anything to it.
Okay.
Listen, thank you, I'll leave.
That's fine. I just wanna make sure what we're doing here.
You know, y'all have, it's Shaw Concrete, I have an objection to, okay?
They're a bidder, and they're a bidder, so we have to address them.
Well, ask FTC about it.
Okay.
I'm gone. All right, good.
Any
Thank you.
other discussion on the matter? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item, consider approval of the purchase of the pickup truck on state contract for the city park. Jim?
The English driving the truck used to be Jerry King's truck. I think it's like a 2004 model, so it's been around a while. It's got a hole in the seat. One day I jumped in to drive across town, and it's got a hole in the seat I almost fell into. I don't know how to drive it. But anyway, didn't realize she had a hole that bad, we would have fixed it. But anyway, last year this truck was put into the budget, but because of COVID, it got pulled back out. So it got postponed a year. She did look at trucks last year. She did want the Ranger, is what she wanted, a steady cab. I talked to Stephen Blackstock down at Monticott Ford. They do have the state contract on 4 trucks, and this truck is the one she's wanting. It's a steady cab 4-wheel drive base model Ranger. It is a state contract price there, as you see, $26,342. And the problem is, with all our vehicles, it may be close to 6 months before we can get this vehicle. So
Even if we order now?
even if we order now.
Wow.
So, now it could be a little shorter, but he said you're looking at least 4 months.
Wow.
But he said Ford's telling them 6 months. So,
What did we put in the budget for this?
I think we put, I'd have to look, I think it's like $28,000.
Yeah.
Just within the budget.
So it's within budget, yes.
Well, I make a motion that we go ahead and, try to get this thing ordered.
Have a
for
motion,
the car.
have a motion to order the vehicle under state contract. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by aye. All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Next item, item F, consider approval of the purchase of the mower and related equipment for the fire department. Chief?
I had passed out a sheet to y'all that was not able to get into the packet because Jackie had an emergency that he had to get to. We looking to purchase a mower and some ground equipment, which is like weed eater, blower, and stuff like that. Our mower and weed eater and everything is over 15 years old. We're starting to have to put a lot of money into it. In fact, we've been down and having a water Carter mower for right now. I had the quotes here. Up underneath it, it's got everything that we will purchase on this.
And all of these quotes include those 6
Yes.
things? Okay.
Jackie, the number 1 up there quote,
Mhm.
that's the one that we had went and tested, and Ferris went and drove it and made sure everybody was happy with what we liked, and the quote was under, it was the best one. So we'd like to have y'all to approve that for us.
This was during budget time, this is in the budget, Jim, this is under the budget.
Yes.
This is under the budget figure we appropriate.
I make a motion that we go ahead and allow the fire department to purchase from J&B Small Engines, quote 1 for the Cub Cadet.
Have a motion to
Is
purchase,
that a zero term?
Yes.
Zero term.
have a motion to purchase quote 1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Next item, consider allowing the fire department to take bids on the replacement of the building backup generator. Chief?
We have had issues with this for a long time. Lightning coming in and hit the unit itself, box and the thing, it would switch over. And if we lose power down, we had to go out there and turn the generator on, crank it up, and go in there and switch over the panel up and switch it to get our power back on. So if nobody's there, we lose power. And that's where our radios are, and just our communications, and open the doors and stuff like that.
This item also was discussed during budget time. This is in the budget. It just made this, since it will be over the $4,000, y'all have to approve them to go take bids.
How much? Well, you don't know.
I don't know, I had got a couple of quotes, but it was around 17,000, something like that, maybe more, because everything's went up since we've done.
The last one. What's in the budget, do you remember?
I think we had $25,000 for both the equipment we just bought and this. So depending on how the bids come in on this, he may have to go into his regular equipment purchase budget to get the rest of the funds, and he's aware of that.
Okay.
But we won't know for certain until we get the bids. And
Just stay within budget for those line items.
of course, the bid will come back to y'all for approval.
Sure.
Make a motion to allow chief to seek bids for the generator for the fire department.
Have a motion to allow us to go out to bid on the generator. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item H. Consider the purchase of trailer mount vacuum excavation system for the utility department on approval of government cooperative purchase agreement.
This is the water jet vac unit that we discussed in our budget hearings. The unit will be used primarily for cleaning out valve boxes. A lot of times when we have water main breaks and things like that, we have to shut off a larger area because we can't get on some of the valves and things. It'll also be used for locating fiber optic now, most systems are potholing to make sure they physically see the fiber optic cable or whatever before they do their actual digging, and this unit will be used for that. We put $59,000 in the budget, and what I'm proposing is to buy this through Sourcewell, which we use for the laboratory plow. We use it for the garbage truck and the bucket load, I believe. And the price by the government purchasing was $53,603, which is about $5,397 less than what we had in the budget this year.
I see available options, and you've got a couple, or you've got one mark. Is there other options that you had wanted that?
Well, just when you look at options, you just weigh the, I know the hydraulic jack would be nice, and that's about a $5,000 option. And usually when you're using or doing construction or digging, we would hook it to a truck and probably would be hooking it and unhooking it multiple times a day. So as far as the cost of some of these options to the benefit, I don't think that the cost of benefit is there. The only option that we really thought was important was the this strong arm, and what that does is supports the hose so that it's not being supported by any of our personnel, so that if, when that sucks the ground up or sucks down through the ground, it's kind of like a vacuum cleaner when the hose collapses, and they've had a lot of injuries and things from other people have by trying to handle the hose or use personnel to hold it. So this gives them the option of swinging out a arm that it's attached to, it supports the hose and reduce the possibility of employee injury.
Looks good.
If this includes what you want, I would make a motion that we allow him to purchase this.
You gonna pronounce it?
Vacuum excavation system.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor, signify by aye. All opposed, signify by no. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 9. Consider a resolution to approve the application for the public entity partner, that's our insurance carrier, on the Safety Partners Grant, protect equipment for police and fire departments. The program is a 50% local match with a maximum grant amount of $2,000. Jim?
Originally, we were talking about this, and we talked to the police department about bulletproof vests. We got about bulletproof vests to replace anyway. And they wasn't going to need enough this year, they thought, to take up the entire amount that we needed to apply for. But since then, the police department's decided they need a couple more vests. So I think they come up with about $3,000 out of the $4,000 max. So they're going to apply for some bulletproof vests, and then what little money will be left, we're going to try to spend on the fire department for turnout gear. And we've got to get this application, it's basically time, so we've got to get it in fairly quickly in order to qualify. If we're too late, the money may run out before they get to us. So we do need to go ahead and apply. We do have to pass this resolution. So basically, the total amount of the purchase will be $4,000. There'll be a $2,000 return grant money coming back. So it's a fairly simple application. We do it in-house, and it's actually, we should apply for it. It's just free money almost.
It's stuff we're gonna buy every year anyway.
Yeah, stuff we're gonna need anyway. And I think Tim came up with about 5 vests they need right now that are fixed to be out next year. So he's replacing old vests that have to be replaced, so and the rest of it will be turnout gear.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Have a motion to approve the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Maines?
Yes.
All vote in favor, one absent.
Resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is other business. Jim, GIS technical update.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but our employee, Clint Irby, has been taken away from us to go to work for Southwest Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation. He's going to be doing GIS for them. So we are without an employee. Clint's been a good employee. He's been with us 6 years. He worked out really well to be our first one. He had a strong background in the GIS mapping. Plus, he was the kind of guy that would do anything you asked him to do. I don't care. He didn't mind going out, getting muddy, walking around the woods. He liked working in the office. He did and helped out Brent a lot. He always got one of the building, residential building certificates for inspection, which we asked him to do. So we are without one right now. He's already left. So we are starting applications today. I have reached out to UT Martin, which is where he came out of, to pass on to the instructor I know up there in that program to see if there's any recent graduates that might be interested. So I sent that to her today. We posted it, I think, on the website today or tomorrow. It'll be on the website.
The website today now.
So it's already on the website, so we're advertising for positions. One thing we did different on this one, instead of having a drop-dead deadline for applications, I made it where we have an initial review on a certain date. And that way, the position will still be open till filled. So if somebody misses the deadline, they can still apply if we haven't found a suitable applicant at that point. The applicants will be reviewed by myself, Grant, and the mayor all probably. And we'll start interviews after our initial review date, which is, thanks about the end of the month. This is not necessarily going to be an easy position to fill, because there's just not everybody that has this background or this training. We do ask for college training with this office. So just make you aware of that, so Brent and I can still run the maps and look up things. We're a little sketchy on shooting new points. So Clint did clear me out the other day, and Greg went with us, and we went to the cemetery, and we shot a few things. So we may be able to limp along for a little bit, but it's not something we can continue to do.
I have one thing here, just for update to the board. As you know, the ARP money is, we still haven't got it. We won't get the first half, and now they pushed it back to the end of July, maybe. You know, we're getting 1.7, and we'll get half of that. What we're probably going to do is, once that money comes in, we're going to have a public hearing. We're going to set a date for a public hearing to let any city residents come to the hearing. Jim is going to be willing to go over this, because we know it's going to change. We know it's going to change on the rules and regs. The Jim is reading and staying up on top of it pretty good, and I think it's fair to the public that they'll be able to sit there and get a good dose of it to understand, try to understand what it's about, and voice their opinion what they feel we should do with it. I know a lot of things they want to do, and a lot of things we agree with, but we're not going to, we won't be able to use this money on that. But I think it's important to us to have a public hearing and let Jim, there's a lot of questions that people have, and I think Jim will be able to answer a lot of those questions for the residents. Now, we'll set that up. It'll probably be after the money comes in, so we're probably looking at end of July, maybe in August before we have it. But we'll get plenty of notice of when it's going to be, so I think everybody wants to attend can attend. But I just want to make sure we give that opportunity to the residents to sit down and ask those questions they want to ask. Because we get a lot of questions every day on this. What can you spend this money on, and can you spend it on this? And you know, and I hate to say it, most times we tell them no, because it doesn't allow that stuff. We thought we'd at least have the opportunity to have a public hearing.
Have they changed any of the dates on how quick it needs to be? It still has to be committed by the end of
2024 committed and spent by 2026. And they really haven't relaxed any
code. That's what we're, I think a lot of us are hoping after they get a year in this thing, they'll start relaxing a little bit, give us a little more flexibility for what we can do and everything. Gee? Bart?
Only thing I had was on the concrete, you asked about Mr. Key. Mr. Adams, he looked at it this week, and for concrete, the forms and the labor, it was gonna be, for this spot and the spot down here by the police spot, it was gonna be $3,650 is what it was gonna cost to change it around.
I think he's already got it marked. They've got it marked and ready to do as soon as they get it done.
I think it's something that we need to do to straighten it, so it makes it a lot easier for people to get through the drive-through, to get to the, where you, even if, to get to the window, plus to get to the, where you drop it in after hours. I just think that's something we need to do.
For your defense there, Keith, see, I know he said quiet and never said anything. There's another spot that he's picked out he thinks needs to be done in that same place without turning into the area, and that's part of that 3,000 too.
Carter
Go
explained.
ahead,
Explain
he
something
did.
about the police.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know who's all complained about it, but getting into this one slot here behind the building, it's very tight to get in there because it's very narrow. And we do have a room to cut off one side of it and still have a plenty depth on the parking space. And it sort of makes sense. And because everybody that comes up one way or another is either gonna turn left, go back to Crook, or they've got to turn down that tight. And if you're in the lane you're supposed to be in going up behind the building, you can't make that turn. You gotta swing over the other lane to get in there. Get in a regular vehicle.
But I just wanna make sure that it went all yours with the $3,000.
It includes both.
Okay, we'll make sure. Jim, you got anything? Gary?
Two quick things. One is for Chief Davidson. What's the status of the police car and truck? Have we got any time frame? I know we ordered them quickly.
Well, we've got our name on the list, and we were told, I think Tim was told that the car would be on the lot 1st of July, but that don't look like that's gonna happen. The truck will be a while because the computer chips, they can't get them built. And it's kind of like the truck we talked about earlier for the car. At least he said we did right by getting our name out there early, so we're just waiting.
The only question, did you reach out to the engineer about the bump outs? Okay, it was for the park, Mayor King stated he would reach out to the engineer.
Oh, the 500, yeah, we're talking about the bump out
For
of
the
the
trail.
$500. Yeah.
We haven't followed up, to be honest. The change order on the parking lot freaked everybody out a little bit, I think. so.
We're trying to figure when that thing's gonna get done, and I think that still can happen.
I really don't think really that's an issue.
I think we can go ahead and do it. If you want us to go ahead and do it,
I'll do it.
okay, well, I don't think that's other than get contact us done full time. What I'm gonna do is $500, I'm not doing that for we'll just tell him to do it.
I have one more thing. In our package, the water and sewer, is that pretty much where we're going to make money on the sewer for the year? That's close enough to the final numbers.
We just got another big water customer, so I'm sure.
No, you're talking about the profit loss?
Yeah, profit and loss.
That's gonna be before any adjusting entries. In fact, we had more bills we paid today that were still from June. So these numbers are still gonna change a little bit. So, but we're fairly good. We should be okay, but like sewer as always, it's gonna be right down to the wire.
Yeah, it was only about 19.
Yeah, 19,000 right now, so it is gonna be tight. But I think we'll be okay, but it is gonna be tight.
That's all I needed to ask.
But it is not final numbers.
Okay.
The hold us to those exact numbers.
Okay, just one other thing is, I think we all talked about North Street, the shape North Street is from, one of the cuts, but mostly from the pavement just didn't take over. But another thing we might as well bring it to y'all's attention, that, Darryl brought, that we're gonna have to pave it, but here's the thing. We have a 6-inch cast iron that runs from 4th Street to where, Jim, to 7th or 6th? To 7th. 7th. And if we're gonna sit here and look to pave that street, there's no reason us to pave that street with that cast iron. How many times have we cut that street in the last year?
Average about 2 or 3 times every winter.
We're cutting it because it's cast iron. So in this day and time, we're better off to go, and I know it's gonna make people happy in the north, but we're better off to go in and replace that cast iron with the regular people, what it's supposed to be. And I think we discussed it, we feel like it's best to do that first, then come back and pay.
Oh, yeah.
So that's gonna put it off about a little bit longer. But, we can, this is something technically we could use some of this, maybe we use. I said that, we might be able to use, we got to get the comptroller to approve it because we're doing a rehab, not a new line, we're doing a rehab. So,
We might be able to do paving with the same funds.
we're tearing it up, that's what we're arguing, that's what we're gonna argue to the comptroller, since we're tearing up the street, we should be able to pay it back, so that's kind of what we're asking the comptroller, let's do that under this ARP money.
When we redid 3rd and 4th, we redid 3rd and 4th, didn't we?
Yes.
That was for him.
Did we move that out of the street?
No, it's still in the street.
still in the street.
Yeah.
So this would stay in the street.
This would stay in the street, we would just,
Big PVC.
scoot over, put in PVC,
Outside it and go.
and go on, and kill the old line.
The last time, on the last one, we moved the fire hydrant to the other side of the street, would we be doing this the same to that?
We would put them on the new line. They'd have to be put on.
On the other side of the street?
It may depend on how the engineering worked out, it just depends. Of course, we redid from Main Street to Third Street with one of the rehab projects several years ago. So, you know, that part was already new. And then we did have that section of 4-inch between Third and Fourth that we've done in the last few years. And so this would make the entire street newer PVC type. And I was thinking we probably may put an 8-inch, I think, all the way down.
What would we put in the pipe to close it off? What do you want to put in?
Put a cap, like the other pipe, when you cut the old cast iron loose, you would put a cap on it at each end, so no dirt or anything could get in it, you wouldn't have any settling taking place, and it would basically be left in place, there wouldn't be any pressure on it. So even if it shifted or whatever, broke like cast iron does, it still would not cause a problem with the street settling or
That's what I was asking
there will be obviously no leakage outward that pushes up and damages blacktop because it would not have any pressure on it for, you know, like several places they put in new plastic and left the old casting service, Hamlet being one of them. That's not the preferred way to do it.
You're being very nice there.
So you run a new line and then cap the old, it's kind
Right,
of
you put
simultaneous.
all the customers on the new line, you put all the fire hydrants and everything on the new line. You take the valve boxes for the valves, or say where the fire hydrant run out was, those would all be the low grade, where you wouldn't know they were there. And then from then on, the new line is in service and supplying everything in that section. And the old line would be abandoned in place.
So nobody's really any time out of service?
No.
Okay.
Just
Well,
the
that's
street,
not very long.
just go with the street.
The street will be a mess.
Yeah. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring to the board? No, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.